Hi, I'm Dr. Tracy Fanara, and this is EarthX 2026. I am here with Mohammed and Njie of Junta Power.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed, as you just said. I'm the founder and CEO of Junta Power, clean energy startup here in Dallas, Texas. Our facility is actually just 2 minutes away from here, but super excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you because, the power of the sun, it's almost like we have this amazing energy source that we just have to harness, right?
Correct.
But we've had solar panels and we haven't really prioritized that innovation, but you
Yeah.
have found a way to innovate and make solar more efficient, and maybe it's the answer to everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I think our inspiration came from how nature does it. Trees are one of the biggest consumers of sunlight, but we don't see trees flat on the ground, two-dimensional, right? Go up in height, grab the most amount of sunlight while using the least amount of land. And if you look at civilization, similar thing happened, going from single-story buildings to multi-story buildings to house as many people while using as little land as possible. And so that was the initial inspiration to how we should be more efficient, to harness as much power as possible while using as little land as possible. And that's how Jonto was born.
It's so crazy because it's biomimicry, right?
Correct.
When you
Correct.
said it, it's almost like, how were we not doing this the whole time?
Yeah, I know. It was my initial question too. I'm like, someone had to have done this before, and then we searched as much as possible, and no one had done it in the way we were thinking about doing it, and so we went ahead and filed our initial patents, and we've gone, from prototypes to actually delivering to customers now as well.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me how this design is different. I know that you have an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's the main difference, I think, between a traditional solar system and ours is that for traditional solar, you would have to scale horizontally, whereas if you transform an object from a two-dimensional object to a three-dimensional object, you're not just limited to the length and width. You can add depth or height to it, right? Which means that you can keep the length or the width the same while increasing the height, which doesn't take up more space. As you can see here, we have a specific radius, but we can keep the radius the same and keep scaling upwards, and we'd use the same land, but we'd capture so much more energy. And so that was the initial design. We've had multiple iterations, but this is where we are now. And that's one of the big things is that for the same amount of space you give us, we can give you 3 times more power compared to traditional solar. But in addition to that, our towers also track the sun, right? So going back to that biomimicry, right? So let's imagine this is east. The tower will wake up in the morning and it will track the sun throughout the day like that. And it ensures that the sun is always perpendicular to the tower to give you even more energy. So 3 times more power for the same amount of space, in addition to 50% more energy for similar sized systems. If you combine the two different aspects, you're able to get about 4.5x the amount of energy per kilowatt per space compared to traditional solar.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you use panels? And if it's panels,
Yeah.
are they layered?
Yeah. So the panels are usually what's in the front right
Okay.
here. There is both a functional aspect to our towers as well as an architectural and aesthetic part of our towers. So what you're seeing on the side is completely optional.
Okay.
So a lot of our customers like that and they choose it, and then some customers just want cheap electricity, and so they just buy it without the body panels.
So this is interesting because it almost would seem like I'm seeing it in person,
Yeah.
and I would feel like it kind of looks like an art installation.
For sure. Actually, there's going to be a tower here at the event tomorrow because we are presenting or exhibiting. So if anyone's interested, we'll be here with our tower. But yes, people have for sure said that, they think it's an artwork before they even think it's producing any electricity, which was the goal from the start.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of these, how tall are they typically, or do they vary?
They range.
Okay.
So our smallest tower is about 7 feet tall.
Okay,
That's a 1 kilowatt tower.
that's totally that.
And then
yeah.
our biggest tower currently is the 5 kilowatt tower, which is about 17 feet tall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know that the amount of power that's generated probably depends on where you are, how much
Correct.
sunlight you get,
Yep.
albedo, things like that, time of the year.
Correct.
But for a single household, could you get one of these towers?
Yeah.
And if so, in general, say Florida, the Sunshine State, we do
Yeah.
have a lot of clouds. Though.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like what
Yeah.
size?
On average, one tower is sufficient for the average U.S. household. If you want to zero out your bill, for example, we've seen people that use two towers, and it will completely zero out your bill most of the time because we produce a lot of electricity. So one of these will produce, between, I would say, 800 and
Yeah.
about 1,500 kilowatt hours a month.
That's incredible.
Yeah, which the average household in the U.S. I think is about 1,000 to 1,200. So two towers usually is more than enough for all of your household needs.
That's super cool. Okay, yeah. I mean, right now some people get their solar panels on their roof, but there's a lot of implications with that. If you need a new roof, things like that. So this kind of allows you, if you have a backyard or even a front yard,
Yeah,
to have these
definitely,
towers.
definitely. So your roof is usually limited to the pitch, to the direction it's
Yeah.
set at, and a lot of the times, even if you filled your whole roof, you don't produce enough energy, and so we're bringing that optionality. And I will mention this: residential is not our main market. We usually are working with commercial, industrial, and utility
Okay.
scale. So we're doing projects with like the DFW airport, Munich International Airport, Malaga Airport. We're also doing projects with some of the biggest telecom companies in the world. And then we've also started doing projects with data centers.
Oh, I love that. Like it's super interesting. I just heard a talk during lunch today, and they were talking about how it's really important to have basically like I'm an environmental engineer, so a treatment train, but a plethora or a diversity of energy sources.
Yep.
And when you can have one that's like artistic
Yeah.
and impactful,
Yep.
that's I see a very bright future for you.
Yeah, I mean that's lovely that you say that. I really appreciate that. I think from an environmental impact standpoint as well, in addition to all the benefits, for example, just producing less carbon
Yeah.
and everything, I think the environmental impact for the tower structure is very different as well. We don't cover the whole land that we go on, so local ecosystems that have been there for hundreds and thousands of years can
Right.
stay there. We just need to take a 14 by 14 square foot plot at one time, and we can leave the general area pretty much untouched.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just thinking of further innovations. Okay, you're talking about carbon capture.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm picturing this with the solar panels, and then maybe some plants, edible plants that
Yeah.
are sequestering carbon that you can consume.
Yeah.
I'm just making things up.
No,
but
you're right on track on like things that we've thought of.
Yeah, oh, cool.
We've thought of adding like I think it's moss, green moss. I think is what
Yeah.
it's called, just like on the tower side, which is really great for both like the environmental impact and
And
just how it
aesthetics.
looks.
Yeah.
But we've already seen some impact. So a lot of birds like to camp on our towers, which is nice. We're almost providing shelter. We've seen wasps and things like
Yeah.
that will also camp there. So hopefully we're making a really good environmental impact
about
in addition
bird
to all
poop?
of that. So we intentionally place things in a way where birds can't like stand here, for example.
Oh, okay.
So they
Okay.
won't be able to like poop in an area where it affects us. But even then, as the vertical system goes, we do very well with dust, moisture, or poop because it basically just falls off. As opposed to if it was a flat system, it'd be more likely to stay there for a long time. So
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Then the
you
sun
don't
just
need to-
like bakes it in.
correct. You don't need to clean our systems most of the time.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is wow. There's
Yeah,
so
so-
much like simple physics that
Yeah.
like it really is amazing.
Yep.
I'm so glad that you thought of it
Correct.
and crazy that no one else, that, you know what I mean, that you had the opportunity to think of it
I agree.
first.
I'm
Because it's
very
like common
privileged
sense.
too. Yeah, for sure. We call it like our self-cleaning feature, basically.
Okay.
And yeah, again, just by the nature of the angle of the tower, you're just gonna have a self-cleaning
Yeah.
situation with the towers.
Okay, now let me ask about you.
Hmm?
Like where did your journey start? How did you get here? Like
Yeah.
how did you get involved? It seems like you're an inventor of this.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that. I've definitely gone through a lot of different, companies, and not really even companies, just ideas that I've brought to life. But this whole journey started from my childhood. I was actually born and raised in Gambia, West Africa. And so the issue of energy poverty over there is really big. A whole 50% of the population still doesn't have access to electricity. I was fortunate to be part of the population that had electricity sometimes, right? So some days you'd come home and there would be no electricity and it would be rolling blackouts. And so I really wanted to solve that problem. I decided electrical engineering was one of the ways I could solve that problem. And so when I moved to the US, I went to SMU for undergrad. I actually partnered with this university to find schools and hospitals in Gambia that have never had electricity before and install solar plus batteries for them. So that's where my experience with solar started. We did that for a little bit. I learned so much about it, and I also learned about all the limitations. And to me, one of the biggest ones was just the amount of space you needed. And so I went down this rabbit hole of trying to figure out the way to solve that problem, and that's how I came up with this company.
That is such an inspiring story.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm like here interviewing you. Like I am
appreciate
really inspired by that.
I
Like
appreciate that.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like kids all over need to hear that story of how you saw a problem.
Yeah.
You figured out a way to solve it. You hit obstacles.
Yep. For
You
sure.
you pivoted. You reinvented
Yep.
and iterated. And now you have a patent. I'm sorry. I'm like,
Yeah, I
I love
appreciate that. Thank you. It's definitely an honor and a privilege, again, coming from humble beginnings to now where we're actually, again, building towers and selling it and getting it to customers and solving problems. So,
that's amazing. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for coming and being
course.
here. And I'm
Yeah.
so excited to see your tower tomorrow.
yeah, for sure.
And it's awesome meeting you.
Yeah,
and
it's a
I
pleasure to
hope
meet you too.
to work with you
Of course.
in the future.
Let's do it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.